is a book review of Spirit Book 2. Now, it doesn't have the wraparound cover that came with it. Don't know where that's disappeared to. However, I don't seem to have it anymore. DC Comics came out in 2008, and there's a number of. So it's a fairly thin book. You can see it's fairly thin. Not so many pages. It doesn't. As always with these things, no page numbers. Why do they never include page numbers? However, this is not as good as the first volume. The first volume was brilliant because it was solid Darwyn Cooke. This does not have Darwyn Cooke all the way through. I love that rain. Just that rain just pouring down. Poor old Spirit. Must have been, Denny Colt, must have been soaked all the time. So there's the various people involved. Some classy acts there, of course. Brilliant Walter Simonson. I love his work. Obviously, Dave Stewart there. Alex Sinclair, etc. So the colouring isn't all Dave Stewart either. I love Dave Stewart's colouring. Got Gail Simon, Denny O'Neill, etc. First story, not so good. And the artwork for the next one is not so good. It's very rough bit of work there. Not my favourite style of art. However, does get to Darwyn Cooke. And there's Darwyn Cooke there. Even they're actually saying that. It's not strictly true because it does actually give later on, where does it say? Oh, Darwyn Cooke, finished art by J. Bone and colour by Dave Stewart. So I love the use of the panel. Again, Spirit, you've got Spirit there, just beautiful. Typography in this book is just lovely. Also, I love the use of shadow as well. Shadow in this, and the colour as well, of course, shadow. But the way they did the half shadow across the face all the time. And also silhouettes, a lot of use of silhouettes, which I think is great. So that's a great story. And then on to the next one. And I think this is a great story, El Morte. You've got basically zombies coming back from the dead. And it's pretty well, obviously, all set in the evening. So you've got very dark colour set palette, you'd say. Also, great use of, which is, I think, very unusual, using white ink, as well as other coloured ink as well. So instead of just usual black ink, they've gone for white ink, which is, again, around like the tombstones, you've got like the white ink there. Good story though, brilliant story. Weirdly, suddenly the story changes. So you've got the story, and then suddenly the next issue, suddenly it's all about death by television. It's a great little story there, death by television. And again, the colour. Also, I love the things with this is the use of panels where you've just got like heads. It's so unusual to. I mean, you quite often see like some artists do it, but I think just this was just beautiful. Something that I think was a lot 50s used a lot of those sort of headshots. However, next story, back to the zombie story, El Morte, and that was just, to me, was a crackingly good story. And I love the typography in this as well. Day of the Dead. And you've got that beautiful Spirit, of course, written there, just as they dragging out of the water. Just glorious. Again, the colours are just great. Panel use, brilliant all the way through. It's a pretty violent story, actually. It's pretty gruesome. Lovely use of reds as well. This is just beautiful. You've got the sort of really horrible green there. Really horrible green. And then you've got that beautiful striking red, absolute dramatic, with the blood as well. Just very, very, very dramatic. And then you've got on to the next story. Again, this one's Sans Serif. And great, there you've got a lovely scene there. Again, in the city. Lots of this is in the city. But this, and also, of course, this is throughout the city. Just got, look at that face. Just beautiful against the backdrop of the city there. Just beautiful. Sand. And you've got old Spirit just drifting off at the edge. Also, there's a lot of great colour. Again, the colouring, the inking is just superb all the way through. The panel use, just beautiful. And also, I love the fact that he's gone for this sort of, this one. This is what I was going to, he's got panel here where you've got very, very small little thumbnails. So it's not just the usual size of thing. It's just got very, very tiny thumbnail, all the way around. And it's in circular designs. You've got this lovely circular design telling the story all the way around. And there she was. And then there she was. And also use, I say colour all the way through, but then you go to a page where you can see here, it's just grey. Slight disappointment in that in the story, you can see the character of the octopus. which is very unusual. I don't think that the character ever really appeared in the original Will Eisner ones. I might be wrong on that. However, he was always quite often, you could never see it. And if he did grab him, he'd grab it and then suddenly you find it's a mask. Though, of course, it's quite possible in this story it's a mask again. That's the trouble. You never know whether you actually get the real octopus or not. But again, this is lovely as well. You've got these great long line panels. I love that sort of use of panels. And it just varies it so much in this. Lots and lots of use. Got actually 4 pages with the same size panels, but it just works very effectively. Also, I love this use as well, where you've got an overlay of the city over Danny Colt's face. Just beautiful. Just absolutely gorgeous. And also this, based on stories, Sans Serif, bring in Sans Serif. Just glorious. All the rain dripping, pouring down again. Last, unfortunately, it's not so good. The stories, the artwork just goes a bit not so great. Then you've got sort of like Winter's Tale at the end and The Cold Depths of an Icicle Heart. That's by Gail Simon. I love her work. So actually, there's hardly any actual writing. It's hardly any word balloons. It's just a lot of silent action. Cool. Good stuff. So, book 2, not as good as book 1, I have to say, but still book 1 and book 2 combination. Now, I'd love to see this set in an absolute volume. That would be superb. Then again, I would love to see all of the spirits in absolute volumes as well, but I suspect that will never happen. But book 2.